snacks.
What it do, snackers, snackettes, and snack X's? It's your boy Gage. I'm here with Sin.
Yes, sir.
Jokes.
Yo.
And you are now tuned in to Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about all the things that are happening in pop culture. And today we're gonna talk some trash.
Okay.
Trash. I feel like today we're gonna talk some trash.
Okay.
But before the trash talk starts, Jokes, you have a job that I hope you can do.
Oh, I gotta do it the long way, so
Hey,
it's coming.
Listen, bruh, that long division. For those of you who are hanging out in the chat, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Jokes' inability to pop off in the chat.
What up, Doc?
The chat and everything else. So what up, Doc? K Dizzle, what up? How are you? My man's posting that Beacons link for everyone so that you guys can go follow us across the board everywhere. It's like a one-stop shop for almost all things loading.
That's a fact.
That's fact.
Yeah. So you look like you had never heard that before. Like you like, oh yeah.
No, you think of it like that, but it's when somebody says it out loud, like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Sin, you have a job to do.
Yeah, so let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, and Ellis Mbaye. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
It's very true. We really do. Oh, who's that hanging out there? Cuddy? Cuddy can't stay. Oh, what you doing, Cuddy?
Cut.
You know what I mean?
You tired from making all that money in GTA?
I guess so. Sen said he got a whole heist ready.
Yep.
What he said all we gotta do is stop them Duggins. Jokes doesn't know what that means.
Nah,
I'm pretty sure I've done that at least once or part of it. Screw y'all.
Oh man. Hey, listen, K Dizzle said, I'm afraid the DC universe is unrecoverable at this point. What was the title of tonight's episode? Well, I mean, my good man, we're gonna discuss it. Look, let's keep a buck. I don't know if y'all saw, but The Flash had a 73% drop off in his second weekend. Now, part of that is my fault because I still have not gone.
Oh well.
And
it's
you know
good.
what?
It's all good.
It'll be on digital very soon, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Listen, I already pay for Max. So like I'm not really mad, you know what I'm saying? But like a 73% drop off is so significant. You know what I'm saying? I said mine too. Here's what I need to know. Is this true doom and gloom for what James Gunn is attempting to do for the DCU? My man Cuddy said straight to DVD bad, bro.
Okay, straight to DVD. But I don't think this spells all doom. Like it's
What up, Heather?
Was good. I would say it probably wasn't necessarily the way that you wanted to cap things off for this era of DC. You would like to see it go off on a positive note, but this didn't do it. But when you're resetting everything and starting over again, most of the time I would say that's a good thing. And
I said put it in the red box. Why?
Damn, that's how you
Why
feel?
would you do it? Don't even spend the money. Why would you even spend the money to put it on discs?
Just get Max and call it that. But I don't think this is going to spell the end of it. If James Gunn can get things in line properly, create some good stories and put in front of people, I think we can see something happen. But you're going to have to come out the gate like Blue Beetle. I'm hoping.
Listen. Here's my thing. here's what I think. I think that for where DC is now, I think for what Warner Brothers is currently going through, I think like Blue Beetle is a good point, but they basically said, yes, he is part of the new DCU, but this isn't like, they're almost making it sound like Blue Beetle's not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And
like, just in case it doesn't do well.
These same execs were saying that The Flash is the greatest superhero movie ever made.
It ain't that.
It's not. Like, I enjoyed it, but it's not that.
So here's how I feel about this to an extent. We've talked, I don't know, a hole in the wall about DC versus Marvel versus how Marvel was handling things versus how DC is handling things, and why, for all intents and purposes, DC should be knocking it out of the park completely. But I have a new theory. First of all, K Dizzle says 5 films getting canceled after Flash, trash. I mean, I can't really fight that. Cuddy says you nailed it last week. Father's Day weekend was a bad weekend. If numbers don't jump 4th of July, then it's really, really bad. Well, here's the problem with that. They're still up against Spider-Verse, which is arguably the actual best superhero movie of all time.
I'm not mad with that. Take it off.
Like that, I'm just saying, like, if you're talking about the Flash versus what Across the Spider-Verse is,
yeah, it's no competition between the two, bro.
For the running between best superhero movie of all time, going into 4th of July weekend with kids out of school,
Spider-Verse is the first choice.
Yeah.
Hey, kids, listen, Spider-Verse and the Flash.
Hold on, bro. Even if you've seen it already, even if you've already seen Spider-Verse,
the replay value is
see that joint again.
Yeah, the replay value is way higher on it. Way higher.
These fools have the nerve to have 2 different versions.
I found that out today. Like, so now
I'm so screaming about that right now.
Hey,
they better put it all out.
Don't you wish you knew which version you were going to see? Just so you could try to see both versions?
I know what version I saw.
Right.
But there's no way to know what you're going to see.
Right.
What Marvel did will never be repeated. Spider-Man was fired. I mean, I can't disagree with that. Here's what I think. I think part of why DC has missed so wholeheartedly is because they put so much stock in their Trinity, being Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman. That's it. And that has been what they have relied on for the most part wholeheartedly with everything they've done, except for Watchmen, which is DC, but technically isn't really DC. So let's just keep that above. Like it is now, it's in the fold, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that feels like where DC is missing is by not. So Iron Man had been around for decades. When they put Iron Man out, it's not that people didn't know that Iron Man was a comic book character, so to speak. But for real, Iron Man was more or less like C tier, D tier, right? And it was like, why would you try? Like, you don't like they were just in a position where you don't have X-Men, those are your heavy hitters. Like you don't have access to them anymore. You don't have access to Spider-Man. That's your other heavy hitter. What do? You don't have access to Hulk. That's your actual heavy hitter. Like Slim hits up. Like, what do?
So that Blade at the time
on these threads of these other heroes and introduce them and make those heroes not just they didn't just make Iron Man important to people. They made Tony Stark as a character, as a person, the person behind the mask, important to the average moviegoer, not to comic book people, not like, but to the average moviegoer. DC has characters they can do that with, but they rely so heavily on Superman and retelling that story again and again, Batman and retelling that story again and again. It's like, even when they make the attempt to put somebody sort of in the forefront, they always drop one or the other of them in the background somehow, like so heavily so that you're not even going to do just a standalone Batman film. We're going to do Batman versus Superman. We're going to take our two biggest names, our two heaviest hitters, try to put them in a movie together so that we can try to combat what Marvel is doing.
Assault on Arkham. That's another one.
Hey, Batman. Assault on Arkham.
But that's just animated. I mean, I'm only really talking about even their animated stuff. They have relied on that. I'm talking about their live action DCEU. Like it's just
the Flash we were just talking about. They opened up with the Justice League.
Of course,
all of them.
DC is trying to build characters who already had multiple movies. Tried to reintroduce him after being around 40 plus years. It's tough. Again, there is a possibility that Blue Beetle works if they don't try so hard to shoehorn Blue Beetle into being DC character, comic books. Like there's a part of it that's like, okay, there is a great story to be told with this character. You can tell it and you can make it like it's standalone. But because you are consistently forcing it, like everybody knows in the back of their mind, they're trying to build towards Justice League in some manner. Like everybody knows it. So everything they do, everything they put forward, instead of saying, you know what, let's just take some of these characters like a Mr. Terrific. Let's pluck him out of the sky and let's just give him a movie. You know what I mean? And do a thing, right? Like that would make more sense to me than what they're trying to do. Hey, Dizzle says Black Adam was their only hope, but The Rock dropped out.
I wouldn't say dropped. I wouldn't say he dropped out.
The Rock tried to take over and they forced him out, which may or may not have been a good thing, but just, I mean, Black Adam didn't do great.
It wasn't great.
And let's also remember that Black Adam shoehorned Superman in. It's
we're back and recut it.
Man, it's shoehorned like the Atom. It's like they try to like, we have all these people, let's use. Nah, bruh. Like so many of these characters have had comic book runs of their own, like solo comic book runs of their own that have been successful. That means you have a character. Look, you can give me somebody who I've never heard of, who is the perfect person to act in this role to play. Because that's the other thing is that Marvel has really been spot on with their casting. And like, even when it's been questionable, and when I say that, I mean like, I'm talking like Iron Man 2, Black Widow. Why are we putting Scarlett Johansson in this movie as Black Widow? And then when I saw it, I was like,
okay.
Hey, dog, that's Black Widow. You know what I mean? Like, real talk, I could have cared less about Scarlett Johansson until, you know what I mean? And then even taking people who already had a great name within Hollywood to be a Pepper Potts, who's like in the movie, but isn't the main focus. Yeah, movie, isn't the main focus of the movie.
But still, great casting.
Great casting. So I do think to an extent, the Flash does spell doom and gloom for DC. And the reason why I say that is because I'm not sure that they have learned any lessons from the past 10 years of doing it wrong. They have been making money. The movies do make money, but they don't hit the way you need them, the way they need them to hit to truly be successful. And they still have that same issue we've talked about time and time again, where it's like, well, who's your target audience for this? Blue Beetle has potential to sell tons of toys, to become really super cool, not just for, but like to little Hispanic kids all across the globe.
1000%.
Like there's a potential there that is unfathomable if they do it right. If they do it right. And right now, I might say I'm waiting for Constantine 2. That's why, which could be really good. Constantine 2 could be really good because Constantine on the low has had his role in the animated films has been
significant. Have been some of the best people. Hey, listen, give us Justice League Dark. Like, Bill, if we're gonna bring that again,
but still, we're shoehorning Batman in. Right? Justice League Dark.
We can shoehorn him out. We can leave him out for this run.
If we decide to do a live action version, yes, leave him out of it.
Let's just leave him out this time.
We don't need him.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the problem. I do think that they've been really, really gun shy about putting their characters forward and putting the money into putting those characters forward without making sure they have one of their heavy hitters there to help be a draw.
Yeah.
Let's keep it a buck. The only reason, and we talked about this when we saw like the second trailer for The Flash, the only reason I was all in the way I was all in was because Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's my guy. That's my Batman. All right, let's do it. But for real, I mean, so I just think they haven't learned anything, and I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think again, there's a lot of potential for Blue Beetle, but right now, Blue Beetle looks like a Nickelodeon movie to me. Like it looks. Maybe it's gonna have some serious tones to it. I think there's something in the way that they do their CG that, but again, I'm not necessarily knocking that if they market this movie towards kids. And it's like, all right, let's try to go after that. But if you're gonna do that, it becomes very difficult when you haven't really established anything to be able to do what Marvel's getting ready to try to do and go, yes, we have Avengers, we also have Deadpool. And we're going to do like a real Wolverine. Like we are going to start pushing that rated R slate. When you haven't really established that and built, I mean, again, we have like 30 some odd films for the MCU. And the difference is running all those movies at PG-13, you know, like if you were 3 when Iron Man came out, you've been a fan your whole life.
Yeah.
Like you're all in. It's nothing better. And that is so key. And I feel like they're always trying to jumpstart. Like they're trying to start somewhere down the road and pick up people who are already in, or still market share and convert people that are already in. If you're gonna do that, you gotta they gotta be 3. You gotta make it so somebody will take a 3-year-old and that 3-year-old will fall in love with it. And
with it.
Blue Beetle drops. Halloween, the outfit's gotta be ready to go, bro.
Oh, what?
The kids gotta be like, I wanna be Blue Beetle. They did that with Harley and then they messed it up. Because it was like, oh, but she's so violent. She's so
Harley's
fighting
everywhere, but couldn't figure out what to do with her.
My man said international cash grab, Spikers 3.0. I mean,
if they can do it right.
I think they can do it. I am cautiously optimistic about Blue Beetle. I think that if they're not in a position to pivot based on what has happened with the Flash and what they already have done, which again they could be, simply because the writer strike says y'all not doing nothing new right now anyway. So
whatever you got, that's it.
You know, maybe that works out. I certainly hope so. Sin, you have been playing Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, I'm at the end of a boss fight right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going, buddy.
Well, when we were in the meeting last night, I stopped it right before the meeting, just left it on pause, and it's the 3rd stage of that fight. Tried to finish it second we got off, and
washed.
Yeah, she would. I said, cut it off. I will do it tomorrow when we finish with the show, probably, and try to beat her then. But I'm not gonna worry about this right now and be up all night trying to beat this chick. Not happening.
What are your thoughts, Jokes? You haven't started playing, right?
I've played through the demo, so I've played. I guess essentially the first.
It's like your first 4 hours.
Yeah.
Prologue. Yeah. That's a long demo. What are your thoughts?
I'm enjoying myself right now. A lot. I like the more mature theme direction they're going. It doesn't feel like overdone just for the sake of doing it. Like Right now, it's been a cuss word here and there, and nothing like all this crazy profanity and nothing like that. The combat system, I'm enjoying.
Hey, listen, you get a whole. Well, my man has a boulder getting ready to drop on it. He lets out a couple of good words.
Well, yeah, I'm about to have a boulder dropped on me. It made sense just then. It wasn't just some people standing around the town just swearing up a storm or anything like that.
Right. It's not. It's. I mean, contextually, when they do it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not.
It warrants it. Most certainly.
Yeah. They're not just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Combat, I'm having fun with it. The more I get into it, the more I learn about it and unlock new stuff. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I got to get into the habit of you can't stockpile like potions and all that kind of stuff like you do in other ones. Like the max you can carry is four potion and 4 high potion. Yeah, so I got to get used to like.
There is a side quest that will allow you to expand. Upgrade. Yeah, but it's we'll get into that. I'll explain that to you a little later. Yeah, here's where I'm at. Mm-hmm. I'm enjoying this joint. Like I like it. It's beautiful. I dig the story. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel like Final Fantasy to me. I think that's my biggest problem. Like all of the right things are there. Chocobos are there, and you know the icons or summons or whatever are there. The spells are there, but truthfully, like the role playing isn't there. Mm-hmm. This joint doesn't have true role playing elements. This is an action RPG. It's not a JRPG. It doesn't have and they've been going further and further away from that. I'm beginning to feel about this joint kind of the way I feel about like Assassin's Creed. Like there's a part of me that feels like rather than like this should not be a mainline numbered Final Fantasy game. This should be what was that joint they released not that long ago that was kind of like there was like a multiplayer action joint.
Strange World. I think it was Strange World or Strange Paradise.
Stranger of Paradise. Which is basically a retelling of the very first Final Fantasy, of Final Fantasy 1. This feels more like that to me. And I get it. Like, look, turn-based RPGs aren't popular. They're certainly not popular in the West. I think that there's a movement of people kind of being ready to go back to that. Mm-hmm. That I feel like if anybody could make it work and make it right and bring it back, it's Final Fantasy. However, again, it's like Final Fantasy has had offshoots forever. Mm-hmm. Final Fantasy Tactics, like all of that kind of stuff. So again, I'm used to something being called Final Fantasy, having the elements, Crystal Chronicles, Mystic Quest, like all these other sides, kind of offshoots. This feels like an offshoot to me. That doesn't mean it's not good. That doesn't mean I don't like it. But when I think of a mainline even Final Fantasy 15, I think felt more like it than this does. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of this is really kind of just like, go to the next point, fight the next person, and move on. And it doesn't really give you like there's no like what I miss about Final Fantasy is like going out and grinding. That's getting strong and then going back and punishing things. And this joint is like
this is more like 13. It's more like 13 in its design where it's linear, then you get to a point where a lot of it opens up and you get to that grinding and farming and all that type of stuff once you get to that point.
That's and like look, I feel like you can knock this joint. Like there is nothing about like normally with a Final Fantasy game, I'm like, yo, I got to do everything. I'm doing every side quest. I'm doing every, and this is just like, you know what? I'm just gonna plow through the story, and then like if I feel like doing the extra stuff, I'll new game plus it, which is what I'm seeing. A lot of people were putting it. They like 40 hours in, they finished the game, and they're going back and doing new game plus, and they're going and doing some of the other stuff that's left over or whatever. But I'm like notorious for like when I'm done. Once I beat a joint, I'm out. I got too much other stuff to play.
Same here.
What I'm saying? So I don't generally do that. And usually with Final Fantasies, I'm like, yo, I'm doing everything. Because when I get to the end of this joint, I want to be so strong, so powerful. There's no way they can stop me. I want to have
one hit, 999,999. We're taking it. We're taking it over.
Yeah, like the crafting is relatively pointless in this joint. Like there's just stuff about it that feels a lot less like what I expect when I get a numbered Final Fantasy game. And I think I'm disappointed in that, even though I'm enjoying the game. Like I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not upset about it. I'm not upset about spending the money on it, but I do kind of feel like this joint should have been, I don't know, Final Fantasy, the Return of the Icons or whatever, instead of being Final Fantasy 16. They just, you know what I mean? Like I like the story. I like the characters. I like the dialogue. There's stuff about the story that I feel like is a little disingenuous because they really just like, you know, we can't put brown people in it. And now I'm looking at them going, they probably didn't put brown people in it because there's so much slave talk. It was probably like, yo, if we put brown people in this,
what up, Perp?
What up,
Perp?
Right? Yeah, like that would have been great, dog. Final Fantasy Nights. That's all they had to do. That would have been perfect.
Not mad at that. Actually,
my man said, I don't think they'll make a Final Fantasy that's more iconic than 7. They won't. It's not going to ever happen again. Because all the people who Final Fantasy 7 turned into RPG fans, they're already turned. So they're not flipping again. And I don't think that there's anything like this isn't doing anything to me that's going to make somebody who didn't like Final Fantasy like Final Fantasy. It's not like the fact that it's more action oriented as opposed to the time based. Like I don't think that's going to make people feel like they very much Game of Thronesified this game. And maybe if you're in Game of Thrones, if you were into it, maybe there's something with that. But like, you know, old Final Fantasy games had that. They already had that. This kingdom versus this kingdom, and we're after the crystals, and
we're at war, and
it's pretty normal Final Fantasy stuff.
Not unfamiliar.
What's less normal is the blood and the stabbing and the cursing and the sexing, bruh.
Yeah. We might be near the same parts. They just had a sex scene. That's the chick I'm fighting right now. Yeah.
Yeah. My man said I see a lot of people compare it to God of War and Devil May Cry.
That's kind of
that's
a good.
Devil May Cry. So the person who created the combat system for this did the combat system for Devil May Cry. And says that this is his greatest action game ever made. And I'm like, of course. Which is cool, but that's not what Final Fantasy is. You know what I'm saying? To me, not a numbered Final Fantasy. Not like, listen, offshoot the joint all you want. Final Fantasy Nights, perfect joint. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Lord. Back on the scene.
What up, Ty?
Saw that title.
Tony Ty, what up, bro?
I'm just used to the combat being this way now with kind of Final Fantasy. I think
15 was kind of like that.
I think it started maybe with 13 with me, even though it was still turn by turn based. The action sequences was a lot more flashy and flipping around and all that kind of stuff. Like
they're cinematic jumps.
Yeah, the cinematics.
But I like that though because because the other thing about it is, I feel like with turn based, even though generally you move one person, like in Final Fantasy 7, let's just say you're Cloud. Like, let's just be, you know what I'm saying? But like, it still felt like you were making the decisions for like what Tifa was doing and what Barrett was doing and in this, it's kind of like they just kind of there doing. Like, you got people that's with you that's not in your party. So speaking, that's real not cool to me, bro.
Yeah, that was the one thing I didn't like about playing through the demo, because it's like when I first realized that, I was like, okay, there's a group of folks here. I was like, maybe I'll be able to tell one to kind of pull attention away so I could do the attack. And just seeing that you don't have any of the control over them, just from the demo side, I was kind of like, I don't know. Because I
have some control over the dog right now at this point.
But to be honest with you, I'm kind of like, I don't even want that. So I just put on a little ring that just automatically.
Oh, I did. Yeah, that's what I did. And we be jumping everybody.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Like, so like at this point, I'm kind of like, I'm enjoying the combat enough and the flashiness enough of it that I do want to finish it. But I'm also very like, one of the things I love about Final Fantasy that I feel like hasn't been there for a very long, like 13 had it. It has been like the actual systematic growth of like your spells, like you getting better, like going from
Fire
Blizzard to Blizzaga to
Blizzaga.
Blizzara to like,
Yeah.
I want that. I want to see Fire, Firaga. Like I want to see that growing.
That
I want to see
progression.
my characters get stronger as I choose to like, all right, that's my mage. I'm gonna make you my mage. You're my healer. I'm gonna have you as my healer. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be able to do that kind of stuff. You're my thief. You gotta get in there and get them joints for me. I got it. You know what I mean? Or give you the option of like, I can learn this ability from so and so. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna try to learn such and such, or mimic abilities and being able to like, oh, you fight these creatures and now you get abilities that they have. Like it's all gone.
Yeah, I was about to ask like,
here's a sword, go fight.
That's kind of
like,
part of it. Like I don't know, and it could be just because I obviously have only played the demo. But the one thing that I was looking for, even in the demo to show up, like there's no like system. Like normally, like every Final Fantasy has this version of a system for you to like level up your character. Like obviously, you see you level up like level 1, level 2, level 3, and like that
feels pointless, dog.
I don't like that. Like to me, that's like. Okay, if you want to do the number leveling, maybe you're going to give me a skill point or something so I can go into this tree and start building the character the way that I want to. Like that was things that I love, especially like Final Fantasy X for me is my favorite one. That was the one that I grew up and did with it. And I love that system that they have in place of you unlocking, like say, Fire, Firaga, all those, and being able to go through them. And eventually, once you got super good, you start crossing over into like other characters.
Correct.
Right.
Which is
and
like, so here's the thing. Here's what I will say. There is some of that in this. Like, in terms of like the icons and being able to like, you get imbued with some powers of the icons. So like when you start, you have the Phoenix ability or whatever. You will eventually open up either icon. Like if you look, there's a whole skill tree. And you can open up abilities that come from other icons, but they're still tied specifically to certain battle attributes that you have. So like with the Phoenix joint, you can learn the ability to like imbue your sword with fire. So you can do a strike that has fire. And then you can master that ability, which like basically upgrades that ability, right? But what you're doing is as you fight, you get ability points and you basically can spend those points to do those things, right? And as you get other icons, you can basically swap out some of those things. So you can have some of one joint, some of the other. But like, there's what's tied to the circle button is kind of like a dash. Like it's like you disappear, you move to the target really quickly, appear in front of them, and then you can attack. Right?
I need that so bad right now.
It's kind of fiery. There's another version of it that is from another icon. That basically you replace that ability on that same button, and it basically does the same thing, but with a different element, if that makes sense. And so it's like there is some of that.
I haven't gotten to that point yet. I knew it was coming because like my ability zone is almost done with. I'm like, yes, I know it's got to like
the very beginning again.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's got to expand somehow at some point. I just got to keep pushing through the story to get to that point.
Correct. And again, I'm not mad at that. I just don't think. I think this should not have been a numbered game. I'm hearing people say that this is like the greatest role-playing game ever made, and I'm like, nah, you're wild for that.
I get it.
Okay.
It just came out. You're excited. Like,
like slow down a little bit. Slow down a little bit. Jokes, you got Paramount Plus? Let's talk about Paramount and Showtime making that combination. Did you hear anything about this?
Didn't read about it. Only thing for Paramount, like I saw like obviously some shows got canceled and they started pulling off stuff from Paramount, but now knowing that they're partnering with Showtime, that also could explain why some of that is also happening.
So Paramount is basically the parent company for like Viacom, which includes CBS, BET, MTV, Nickelodeon, so on and so forth. they're bleeding money and they're hemorrhaging all stuff and selling. I do believe that they finalized the sale of BET to Tyler Perry. I think he got BET and VH1 in that sale. I think that happened last week. They are combining Showtime and Paramount Plus, and the new name. You ready for this?
Please.
It's called Paramount Plus with
Showtime.
Hey, dog.
So we're not gonna go with something like Max. We're gonna let you know exactly what this is.
This is Paramount
with Showtime.
So the thing for real. So the thing is, if you already had the Showtime and Paramount Plus together anyway, like nothing's really changing other than the fact that they're losing a bunch of stuff. The Showtime app, the standalone Showtime app, is going to be gone by the end of the year. So that won't exist at all anymore. Okay. Here's the thing. They're expecting that they're going to save an annual amount of like $700 million by combining the two of these companies. What? In content spend. So basically, you got to remember that like Showtime, but I guess they do have original content. But Showtime, not unlike HBO for a long time, they spent their money paying for licensing from, you're from Paramount, from MGM, from whoever, so they could get those movies onto their service. So you had a reason to subscribe to Showtime to watch stuff. And it was always that battle between Showtime and HBO and whoever else for who was going to get what movies and when they were going to be available on cable and blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of money, right, that gets wrapped up in the licensing and the license fees and so forth. And when you think about it, now all of those companies basically have their own streaming services. So why am I licensing my stuff to you when I want people to subscribe to me? And that is what came out of what were the streaming wars. And we talked about for like 2 years, you know what I'm saying, on this show. Like everybody's trying to grab content and who owns what, blah, blah, blah. Now, what has happened since this like restructuring and people combining things together, like HBO and Discovery combining to be Max, and is that those companies are now looking to make money back by continuing to do what they used to do, which is license their stuff out to other people. So like, if you remember when Peacock became a thing, it was a big deal. We're pulling Friends, we're pulling Seinfeld, all that's coming off of Netflix. We're going to have it on Peacock. They want people to subscribe. Now, that stuff is back on Netflix, right? So it's like, yo, hold on. There are too many services. It's costing people just as much money to have all these streaming services as it did to have cable. So there is no longer any point in continuing to do it this way. If we want to make money and survive, even though we own this content, our content is actually, I guess you got to think about it in terms of like auctioning off content you have. There's way more. I'm gonna say it. Oh man, yeah. So I'm here, Paratime. Oh man, what up, Mary? Yeah, he got both, and he got his own studio. Yep. So that was Tyler Perry. Got in there good. Show mount. I tried everything, man. I had that Paramount Plus Showtime bundle for a while. Canceled after Yellow Jackets was done. I mean, again, I think that's part of the other thing that they're seeing, right? Is that a lot of people are jumping in, paying for the subscription for a month or two till whatever show or whatever is done with their run, and then they're bouncing until
it comes back for another season or whatever for it.
Right, and it feels like it's worth it. They have a lot of A24 films, which is good. Which again, that means that they're paying to license that stuff, and A24 is making good money, out of it. K Dill said, imagine 50 Cent taking his talents to BET and a rash of black creators. Wow. I mean, it could be. I mean, look, when Netflix signed Shonda, who had been making all those shows for ABC, it was a big deal. I don't know that we've seen a whole lot come out of it at this point, but that was like right as we went into COVID. And so we might just now start seeing some of the fruits of that labor, and then anything that was going to continue to be in the works is like
now,
the writer's strike.
Exactly. What up, Kill It?
Yo.
So again, I think that's the other thing, right? I mean, we talked about this when the writer's strike was coming. I said to y'all, you're going to start seeing all these streaming services really scrambling to take what they own and use that as a good way to try to get you in, because they're not going to have any new content to say, yo, we got this great new show coming. You guys should come check this out, because there's nobody to write it. Perp said, I don't see nothing changing with BET. The content just going to get worse. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. You want to talk to the most anti-BET dudes, that's me. I don't get down. I don't do Tyler Perry. It's not my guy. I appreciate a lot of what he does. But I just think there's a lot more that could be accomplished by doing things differently than the way that they do. And that is a discussion for a very different kind of show. A very different kind of show. What I will say is that, I don't think this is going to be the end of that consolidation. I do think we're going to see some other combinations. This right now, like Paramount's in trouble. Again, they're selling off assets left and right, like BET, like VH1, CW. They're trying to get rid of the entire CBS studio. Like, they're trying to get rid of all of that. Then you have companies like, Max with Warner Brothers mixed in there. They can't go in and buy CBS and get all that content because they can't figure out what to do with their own.
Yeah.
So that leaves really like Netflix and maybe Disney Plus. And again, even Disney is combining all of their 3 apps into one app before the end of this year. So that consolidation, I think, is just going to continue because there isn't enough space for all of them to coexist, even with all the content they have. And as those who do have money and are making money continue to make new shows that actually are good and are worth people spending the money for, it's hard. Look, it's really hard. It's really, really hard to fight Amazon. Amazon Prime is a joint that nobody thinks about, but everybody has it because everybody has Prime. So you already have it. They put out some great content. Their UI sucks. Their user experience is horrible. But it's almost like they don't care because it feels like it's free. And they're like, oh, well, here, you can have it. We spend the money on the show. We don't spend the money on the UI.
Garbage, but
you
can find it.
You can figure it out. You know what I mean? And it's and even it is inundated with like, well, yeah, you have this, but if you want, you can still get Showtime through us. And if you want, you can still add something. Like, if you want, you can still get Crunchyroll. Like, they just make it so like you can get everything in that one app, which I feel like a lot more people would do if the app wasn't garbage.
Right.
If the app was clean, I feel like people would just be like, well, I have this. I'll just pay the money and do it all in one space. My man said, K. Dill said, website trash shows great. I mean, that is about right. I mean, they have about 3 shows I'm anticipating the next season. Again, and here's the thing. They just got sued. And I think they lost for using practices that people felt like were basically like they were tricking people into subscribing for Prime. You know, and they raised the price of Prime. Like, Prime was $100. It's $140 now. They just be like, here. Perf said, yeah, Prime Video UI is absolute garbage. Steps below Hulu, but now Hulu just looks like Netflix, which is true. Again, wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, if it works.
Because it's working, right? Hey, Leah.
Hey, Leah.
What's up?
Good to see you. Yeah, so I mean, again, I don't think this is going away anytime soon. I think we're going to see more of this. I think we're going to start to see a lot of shows that were pulled from services go back to other services that aren't the people that technically own them, because it's really a good way to make money. And so maybe they'll sign deals that they get paid more money if they give it to them exclusive and it's not even on their own service, but they could just run it on both, right? Like,
yeah.
If you think about this whole Microsoft FTC thing and them being like, it doesn't really make sense for us to pull Call of Duty from PlayStation, we're good with it being on both. Like, if you're Max and you have a show that's on yours, but like Netflix wants to pay you to have it on theirs too, and you're just like, yeah, you can have it, but you pay us, but we're not taking it off our joint unless you pay us enough to offset what we might lose by it being
double.
Yeah, so it's just no point in switching. I really don't think that's going away at all anytime soon. I just think we're going to see more and more of it. Hey, just say Microsoft finna buy everything. Hey, listen,
everything.
Right now, with what's happening in these court sessions, PlayStation look real dumb. Well, Jim Ryan look real dumb. The FTC looks real dumb, and they still could not get this to go through. Because really all this is, this technically isn't, this case that's currently in with the FTC is not about whether or not Microsoft can buy Activision or not. What it really is it's about whether or not they get a stay, because the FTC pushed the trial, them suing Microsoft, they pushed it back to August. And their deal with Activision is up in like a couple of weeks. And if they don't get it through, then Microsoft has to pay Activision $3 billion. Mind you, Microsoft has put into their argument in this that if they are not able to make this deal go through because they missed the time window, because they want to push it to August when they wouldn't even talk to them to hear any arguments before they decided to sue them, they asked for the FTC to pay that $3 billion.
I think that's fair.
The judge in this case only has to find that it's worth that the FTC has a strong enough case that it's worth waiting until August to hear the whole thing out instead of this. So if the judge says, you know what, Microsoft, you're making a lot of great points, but the FTC, you're making a lot of great points too. I think we need to hear everything. We are going to go ahead and hold it till August. Microsoft more than likely is going to abandon making that purchase. And if they do that, I think everybody else they just talked about buying is going to be like, listen, everybody else is like their stock market is going to go boop, because it's going to be like Microsoft about to buy Sega, Microsoft about to buy so-and-so, Microsoft about to just, and it'll be stuff that's small enough that the FTC won't even
get involved with it.
And it'll be like, it's the same thing. They're just going to do it slower by buying smaller joints over time, or they're going to end up having to play dirty ball and they're going to end up paying to get a lot of exclusive anyway. If
they can play in Sony's realm.
If the judge finds in Microsoft's favor in terms of not holding the case to August, then basically what's going to happen is Microsoft will skirt the CMA, they'll make the acquisition, and then they just won't sell certain products the way that they would do everybody else over in Europe. And that'll be what it is.
Yep.
They about to be important over in Europe.
I mean, that's where it is. So we'll see. I don't know how it's gonna go. Right now, it looks really good for Microsoft, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. There's like
Sony may got some other people on the inside.
That's possible.
Who knows?
Too. I mean, they put Jim Ryan on the stand, and my man was just sounding real dumb. Like, you actually said in your emails that like it wouldn't hurt y'all at all. You're like, yeah, we got Bungie, we good. Like we're gonna be just fine.
Really? You guys will do very well. Okay, then.
But they still have the fact that the CMA decided to hold it based on cloud, and so they still need to prove that cloud is a separate market or what have you. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Let's watch a trailer. Hey, Sin, you hate scary stuff.
Go ahead and put it on.
I'm nice and Freddy, bro.
Go ahead and put it on. I saw it on the timeline today. I was like, oh gosh, tonight.
Here we go.
Hi, this is Mike. I was just calling to see if that job that you offered was still available.
Yes. The security guard.
I will take anything.
This place was huge in the 80s with the kids. They shut it down years ago. The owner's just not ready to let it go yet.
I will work and you will sleep.
I understand.
Give me your hand.
All you have to do
These are Megan.
is keep your eyes on the monitor.
Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's, where fantasy and fun come to life.
Okay.
We didn't say Blumhouse is perfect for this adaptation. I agree.
Can I help you, officer?
Have you met them yet?
Met who?
Them.
No.
In the 80s, kids went missing. The police searched Freddys top to bottom.
Hello?
They never found them. That's why the place shut down.
There are ghost children possessing giant robots. Thanks for the heads up.
Technically, they're animatronics.
I don't think this is good.
What do they want?
They want to make her like them.
Papi! Tell me how to stop them.
It's too late.
Robbie, go!
Where to? Why do I always get the
Corey
weirdos?
Kenshin got the show up. That's what's up. That's actually dope. That Corey Kenshin got the cameo. That's pretty dope. You ready, Sam?
Ain't no way in hell I'm going to see that.
Come on, bro. We go together. I got you.
What if we say there's going to be
I'll
Super
protect
Boys for
you.
that jump?
Then, you know what's going to happen? You two guys going to be doing that one together. It's that simple. I'm not going to see that. No.
Probably ain't even that bad.
Probably isn't. I'm not going to find out.
It probably really isn't that bad, but yeah, he'll never know. Let's see.
But, yeah.
I'll never go to Chuck E. Cheese again. I hear you. Don't go to Chuck E. Cheese at night anyway. You know what I'm saying? Steer clear.
Hey, Sin, if Bray Wyatt never came back to WWE, he should make some type of movie like this with the whole Firefly Funhouse crew. That joint could actually be. You probably would never go see that joint too, but I think that joint would work.
Unless it turned out to be really, really like bad that I can laugh at it, then I can
Well, it
do that.
definitely will be if there's some wrestling environments doing it. That's just a fact. It's gonna be bad, so you can watch it. All right, let's check this out, man. Futurama got a reboot. Let's see what they talking about.
Welcome to your new home.
Hulu.
Our new home.
Oh, we're back, baby.
In 2 seconds, you will collide with your destination.
Good news, everyone. We seem to have survived a massive disruption in the flow of time.
Wait, what exactly happened?
Here, look at this. Stop fighting! Okay, I'm done. To the ship!
A new virus has broken out.
I've developed a test to see who's infected. You jam this Q-tip up your nose. That looks kind of fun. I can't wait to do it hundreds of times.
Pretty lawless out here in crypto country. Say, you interested in a job? Fry, why don't you have a belt?
Or at least this substantial butt. Sorry, guys. I'm a flatty.
Mom.
Manscaped me, Kif. That's an order. Ow! You do you, weirdo! I'll bite my glittering festive ass! Yep.
How do we get out of here?
Easy, we'll burrow out. Burrow! Burrow! I deserve that!
I'm just glad you're back.
Would you like to order erotic scented massage oil or fuzzy handcuffs?
Yes,
God,
please.
that's creepy.
I mean, yeah, so creepy.
My man said, "Yeah, let's get it popping."
Get it.
That joint's gonna be a thing. And on that note, tomorrow, the interview we shot with Maurice LaMarche, who is the voice of Calculon, but probably best known for being the brain and Pinky and the Brain, that's going live tomorrow. And he does drop a little gem about making sure y'all go watch the new Futurama, because all the voice cast is back.
Yep.
So that's gonna be dope. So look for that to drop tomorrow. Sam, were you a Futurama guy? I don't feel like.
Nah, that I've only probably seen one episode of Futurama, and that was the Snoo Snoo episode. That's it.
Damn, that's it.
Yeah, I wasn't into like Simpsons. Remember, I didn't watch TV like that, like period. I just watched anime and movies growing up for the most part. So, yeah, wasn't my thing.
He lying, dog, because my man used to watch South Park every week.
Yeah, but that was like the first 2 seasons. I haven't watched it since. Like, it was something new. It was funny. It was wild. Then after that, it just out of sight, out of mind.
Did you see the movie? You saw the South Park movie, right?
I did see the movie. I think that was when we were doing our movie thing every weekend. We went to go see it.
Listen, I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, I think
I'm ready for it.
Okay.
I'm ready for it. I don't know if it'll hold me, but I'm ready for it. All right. Couple
it
things
picks
left.
up after the last one.
Wrap this up.
The Futurama picks up after the way, right after last. Okay,
It
I do remember they suppose they got together at the end of the original one. Him and the Cyclops chick. Okay.
Cyclops chick.
She got one eye. She a Cyclops.
Facts. So you got a MetaQuest?
Yeah.
Did you see this today? MetaQuest.
No, I didn't see that. I said, I got to do, I guess. It's older model.
I mean, it's not the 2. I'm just saying you have one.
Yeah, I have a Quest. Yeah, I got a Quest.
Meta announced today what is basically their PlayStation Plus. $7.99 a month. You get 2 free games.
Okay.
And they pick them.
Okay.
They pick them. So it's $7.99 a month or $60 a year. $60 a year.
That's not bad.
That's
one game.
One game. That's not bad. That's not bad.
That's not bad when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
This joint launches on Monday. They announced it today.
Okay.
Only on the MetaQuest 2 and the MetaQuest Pro. The first 2 games for July are going to be Pistol Whip and Pixel Ripped 1995.
I don't know about that one, but I do
Either
know
of
about
those
Pistol Whip.
matter.
Pistol Whip, yeah, I do
Whip,
keep me. Yeah, I do. Dave keeps telling me to get that one. He's hooked on it like crack. But
August, the first game is Walkabout Mini Golf. And the second game is called Mother Gunship Forge.
Doesn't sound familiar, neither one of those to me.
None of this is resonating with me, right? If I had a MetaQuest 2 right now, you know what I'm saying? Resonating.
Bruh, I feel like if you had a MetaQuest 2, the games that you thought you wanted, you would already have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This to me. All right, look. I know they announced that Game Pass is going up $1, and that the higher tier is going up $2 a month. But there's hundreds of games in Game Pass. Hundreds of games in Game Pass for what will be $11 a month, or what will be $17 a month, which, you know, is roughly $200 a month, $200 a year. Which, with games now being $70, is still a little bit less than what cost you for 3 games. So it actually kind of works out. $7.99, dog. Even PlayStation Plus gives you 2 games, but then you also do have games that are in there that are like, it just,
yeah.
The question is, and this is what I don't know for sure, is, you know, with Xbox Live Gold is garbage. Let's just not even, as far as the games with gold, what they give you is mostly, now it's pretty pointless. However, the difference between games with gold and PlayStation Plus has always been that games with gold games are yours forever. Once you download them, they stay in your library, even if you are no longer a Games with Gold member, which is a smart tactic when you're doing games that people want, because somebody might jump in and pay just for the month or just for 3 months to get that game, as opposed to paying $30 or $50 for that game. Makes sense. PlayStation Plus, you only have access to the games that they quote unquote give you for free, as long as you are still a paying member of PlayStation Plus. So if you allow that to lapse, like I did, you can, I don't need it. You no longer have access to those games. What I don't know about this subscription for MetaQuest,
if it doesn't sound
whether or not these games are yours to keep, or if you let that subscription lapse or whatever, you no longer have access to them. Again, also, not that the library for like VR games is crazy high or whatever, right?
Very true.
But at like $8 a month versus like $11 a month, why would you pay for that when you're only getting 2 games? K Dizzle says Vision Pro equals Ready Player One. Wait until the developers get a hold of it. We'll crush everything else. I am going to disagree. Only because people still have to adopt it. It doesn't matter how cool it is. Because the HoloLens was the coolest thing ever. People have to adopt it. If they don't adopt it, it won't matter. And the thing that will make it so that people adopt it is going to be price point. Because most people, in order for it to be mainstream, need it to be a price point that makes sense for most people. And that is the only way, in my opinion, that you have enough people in your ecosystem that if you're making games for something, you can make enough money to keep making games for something, because there's enough people to buy it in the first place. Which is a thing that we learned firsthand as we went into this console generation, and Sony was like, nope, we don't do that. PlayStation 5 and that's it. If you got a PlayStation 4, we don't care about you anymore. And then they was like, man, PlayStation 4 has a really, really high install base. We'd be really, really dumb not to put the new God of War on PlayStation 4.
And that's like, one of the biggest lies in gaming was told.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, the reality of it is, right now, there has to be enough of an install base, not just with what they do with MetaQuest, not just with what Apple is trying to do with their new headset, but with everything that everybody is trying to do in the VR space to make people adopt it enough that it's worth it for people to continue to develop for it. Because that money has to come from somewhere. And right now what's happening is they are having to subsidize money that comes from other parts of those businesses. If the Quest wasn't owned by Facebook, who makes a shiting of money selling your information back to you, When I say that, I mean, oh, you like Captain Crunch? Let me show you an ad for Captain Crunch. Like that's what they do. So there's so much money being made in other places that they have enough money to lose money in development. And for something like the Quest, they can call it R&D and they can write it off when it doesn't do well. But I have to imagine that there are at least enough people who have this and maybe they don't use it often enough, and that's why they're doing this, right? Here's a subscription, let's make it easy, and hopefully now, because you have it already, you'll actually use it. You know what I mean? Or whatever. They know if you're logging in or not. That was one of the things that actually kept the Quest from doing as well as it could have, is that they made the acquisition of Quest and made the change to Quest forcing you to log into your Facebook account at the same time that they were in court for like doing things they weren't supposed to be doing with people's information. And so people are like, you mean in order for me to play games or to use my thing, I have to log into a Facebook account? And there were people who were like, I don't even have a Facebook account anymore. Sure you do. It's just called Instagram. Because they went and they bought that.
Yeah.
How to use Facebook. You know what I mean? That's why they changed their name to Meta. Like, it is what it is. People have been buying $1,000 iPhones for over 6 years. They got the money. I also will disagree with you on that, because you know what people have been doing? They have been subsidizing the cost of those iPhones into monthly payments. It's not the same thing. It is not the same thing to say, oh, people walk around with $1,000 iPhones all the time. Yeah, my daughter got an iPhone. You think I just paid $1,000 and put that joint in her hand? Absolutely not. No, sir. Your kids, I'm sure, got iPhones. Did you pay $1,000 for each and one of them joints and just hand them to them? Nah. You don't sign a 2-year contract anymore, but the cost of them phones is certainly built into your plan. You ain't just dropping a G for how many phones? You got like 6 kids, Kay. Not 6 kids, but it's like 6 of you. You know what I'm saying? So like, if all y'all got phones, it's no way. There's 5 phones on my plan. Nah, dog. and this coming from a person who used to like straight up, because I was a Windows phone guy. So it was no like, I was like, here, take this old. I wasn't even giving up my old joints. I was just like, all right, it's gonna cost me $800 to get a phone. That's what I'm gonna do. Here's $800. Give me a phone. Buy it outright and then put it on whatever service I want, because nobody technically carried them. I just had to buy them and then put it on the service I wanted to use. So I was doing it. I'm not saying people don't do it. What I'm saying is that there aren't enough people who do that. That's not a normal or a regular thing. Yes, it's normal that people have phones, but that means that your install base is so high that if you put something in the app store, it's almost guaranteed to sell. You make a game and put that joint in the app store for $1, you can make a few $100,000 in like a week. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just off GP. What's up, Thomas?
What up, Thomas?
Hey.
Yeah, that's very different, man. It's very different. Now, if they subsidize, which again is the same thing Microsoft tried to do and still has a thing for with Xboxes. Like, you can pay a monthly fee and they will subsidize you an Xbox with Game Pass for a monthly fee. Here's a box. Here's Game Pass. Don't buy any games. Go out and buy an extra controller. We're good. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we're gonna do a credit check. Like, you know what I'm saying? But you can do that. Like, that's the thing. And that's because their competitors are Apple, because they're Microsoft. And they're like, well, look what they do. You know what I'm saying? The Samsung, look what they do. So, yes, as crazy as it is to think that people walking around with $1,000 of tech in their pocket every day, everywhere, and lose them joints too. Drop their $1,000 in the toilet, leave them joints in the movie theater. Like, people just be, you know.
Joke's having he having flashbacks right now from work.
Yeah, it's that monthly. Thomas said, I just got here. We talked about Spider-Man 2 dropping their release date and that gameplay video. Yeah, we did that like
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
We did that 2 weeks ago. Are we excited? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we are. Man, You ever just find like a really fine splinter in the palm of your hand because you just rubbed it across your shoulder and it hurt a lot? Because
Yep.
this got to come up out of here. So I'm gonna tell you what's getting ready to happen. We
About to
About to
shut
shut this down.
down.
I got some ghetto surgery to do.
I play games with this hand. I don't know. This is my right thumb. So I got to. You know what I'm saying? I got an injury. Hey Thomas, you should be so excited, and you definitely should go back and watch that episode because we definitely talked about it. We did technically 2 separate things on that, Thomas. We did a PlayStation. We did a specific, like, Sin and I actually watched the PlayStation showcase and then talked about it after that, and then we talked about it on Weekly as well.
Yeah.
That a couple days later. So we definitely did both.
So it should be easy to find.
Did a big one. And that's true. Man, that joint is in there. It didn't hurt until just now.
Till you did that.
You hit that extra rub. It was like, ooh. It's like, hi.
Well, hold on, something.
That zone was like, hello, I'm here.
Here's the thing: I can feel it, but I can't see it, and that
is a problem.
It's gonna be a long night, y'all. It's gonna be a long night.
Yep.
All right, so check this out, so we can wrap this up. Jokes made a mistake and forgot to post Spoiler Boys.
Yeah.
But the first Spoiler Boys for Secret Invasion is done. So it is going to go live tomorrow. And the Spoiler Boys for Secret Invasion episode 2 is going live next Monday, right, Jokes? You know, it's been a busy week. It's been a lot going on. Lots of content still coming up from, you know, going live from Awesome Con. So just kind of in the mix of trying to get all that stuff done and put everything out, you know. It happens. It's cool. We love and appreciate you guys for bearing with us on that. Tom said, damn, I'm getting away. My load is not doing. My boss is. You can say that when you're your own boss, I suppose. So.
Go ahead and yell at us and just go to the mirror.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I need to watch Naughty Snacks tonight.
You know what?
Gotta do better.
You know what? Cut your hours. You know what I'm saying? Like, tell your boss.
Cut your hours and I'm going to give them to somebody else. You know what? I need those hours more than you do.
Right. Yeah. So, real quick, I'm not gonna. I said I stand by it, and you should. Secret Invasion. Thoroughly enjoyed it. We have some thoughts and predictions about who is a Skrull and who is not a Skrull. And to be honest,
we all probably wrong in every
form. That is what's so beautiful about it is the speculation. So when that drops tomorrow, I highly encourage you to check that out. Now, on the flip side of that, tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock, we are going live with our discussion for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. We watched the first Spider-Verse movie again. So we're going to have a discussion about that tomorrow evening. So expect to see us at 8 p.m. for that to go live. On top of that, in 2 weeks, we will be at BlurCon. We have a panel on Saturday from 5:30 to 6:50. There's our Being Comfortable Being a Geek panel, as we have become famous for doing. We are going to be joined by the incredible artist Jocelyn Short. So we're really excited about that. So if you're at BlurCon, going to BlurCon, please say hi if you see us. If you're not, look for content coming after that, because there will be plenty of content coming from us based on that. What I would like everyone to do is have a very happy and safe 4th of July next week. I know that 4th of July is next Tuesday. We have not had a discussion and made a decision about whether or not there will be a Loading Snacks Weekly on that day. Some of us may be more intoxicated than others and therefore may not be able to provide you with the show you would normally get, though it
would be entertaining.
Excellent content. Entertaining. But I would not necessarily expect for any of you to tune in here when you could be watching fireworks or something like that.
Being with your family.
We're going to figure that out, and we will let you know exactly what we're going to do. If anything, more than likely, it will get pushed to the next day and will be Wednesday the 5th. It's definitely not going to be Monday. So Wednesday the 5th. Let's see. Thomas said, I think Jokes is a scroll. That's how you made that mistake. Real Jokes would never done that.
Oh,
hey, I like how you did that.
Oh, hold on. Dr. Who said we'll be getting drunk?
More than likely, it will be my aunt's house. More than likely.
Listen, and Thomas said, in that
please
case,
do it.
Oh.
Hey, listen, I can't make any promises. I can tell you that I don't really have plans for that evening. So I'm not saying I'm not game, but we may end up doing something that just isn't a regular show. We might just kind of do something, go live and kind of hang out or whatever. Maybe we'll play some games or something like that. We'll figure it out.
We'll just see how my aunt feels. She's getting over hip surgery and stuff like that. So I know she's talking about doing something. So she just hasn't sent the group text out to the family to say, like, be here this day. We're doing this. So
just waiting for the message.
That's it. I'm just waiting for the message to come in. That's it.
That's cool. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll let you know. We'll certainly post on our Patreon, and we'll make sure that we get it out to everybody via Instagram, Facebook, and so forth, so that you guys know what's going on. We don't want to leave anybody hanging, but we also certainly don't want to interrupt anybody else's festivities. So if we're not here Tuesday, feel free to get drunk without us. I mean, it's cool. That's how y'all usually do it anyway. Unless y'all are actually getting drunk while y'all are watching this and we don't know it and ain't nobody telling us. Which could also be,
I feel left out.
You know, the truth. Thomas says, my love to your aunt. Hope she recovers well, Sin.
Thank you. She's doing well.
And
speaking of that, shout out to my cousin Rion for
Turned Up Edition.
Low Snacks Turned Up Edition. That could definitely be a thing. Could definitely be a thing. Yeah, I'm sorry, Sin. You were saying shout out to your cousin?
Yeah, some of y'all might know my cousin Noah does the anime stuff with us. His father got into a nasty bike accident over the weekend, got hit by a car. But surgery went well. Most of the damage on his left arm and left side. So he's at home with the family right now, and it's all about recovery from here out. But surgery went very well. They was able to reattach the nerves and stuff. So that was a little bit of a...
For it to be a cycling accident, man, I'm just glad he's okay.
Glad it's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what he does though. Like he's a cyclist. Like,
hey, listen, I saw a picture of my man like in with the full suit on in the. I was like, oh, my man, a professional.
Yeah. Years.
Listen, Dr. Who said shot for every time Jokes forget something.
Don't do that. I will figure out how to forget it, but still make it happen.
Hey, Diablo 4, anytime somebody dies, take a shot.
What?
Between whoever dies, whoever loses their hardcore character, and
just for us. Yeah, no hardcore character. That's not happening, bro.
No, we're not going to do hardcore characters. I'm talking about everybody else out there that's using hardcore. Because you know what, Sin? If we were using hardcore characters the other night, we would have all lost our characters.
Yeah. Hey, listen, bro. Yeah. Stop yelling at Sin right now, dog. Why you hollering?
I'm not
listen,
yelling.
Jokes, you got a job to do. Do your job. While Jokes is doing his job, Sin, you do your job.
Sure. So let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, and Ellis Mbaye. Thank you very, very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Y'all are the best. Jokes is getting that Beacons link up for you. Again, follow us across the board everywhere. Lots of content that has dropped since Awesome Con. New content still incoming. Again, that Maurice LaMarche interview, the brain from Penny and the Brain, dropping tomorrow. So, keep your eyes peeled. And then we'll see y'all tomorrow evening for our discussion for Into the Spider-Verse. Thank y'all for tuning in. Jokes, take us out.
Hey, y'all. And remember, just because you got a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea.
With that, we're out. Toodles and lose.
Loading snacks.